Well, I want to thank you for being here this morning, and I'm excited. This is going to be a great morning. It already has been a great morning, and I just want to share with you this morning. Next week is our Big Give Sunday. Are we excited about that? I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm really excited about that because we planned this for a long time. We've been talking about this as a board, as staff, and we just kind of said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our budget for this year and say we're going to plan it around 51 weeks, not 52 weeks, because we are going to give a week's offering away. And we want to encourage our people to be generous, and so as a church, we need to demonstrate that generosity as well corporately. And so we've decided this is our plan, and this has been our plan from the beginning. And so we decided that Valentine's Day was going to be a great opportunity for us to show our big hearts for our community. And so we asked you to nominate organizations that are doing some great things in our community. And I want to thank you for your nominations. You nominated all kinds of great organizations. In a couple of weeks from now, you're going to see a list about all of those individuals and those organizations and hear a little bit about them. But we decided that we were going to choose one organization that we were going to bless in our community. And so our missions committee took our nominations, and we sat down together and we worked through some criteria that were very clear. And we came up with a recipient for this year. And the recipient for this year's Big Give next week is going to be the Carpenter Hospice here in Burlington, Ontario. And we've been talking all the time. You know, we've been working through this series called Passion, and we've been talking about the importance of us to get outside of our doors and to be involved in some of these organizations that are doing incredible things. We need to expand our circles of influence and our relationships, because it's not just about being the church here. We also need to be the church wherever we're going. And so we want to encourage you to be, outside of those doors, get involved in our community, show love to people around us. And this is the beginning of that step. And part of that step is going to be this first chance for us to show our generosity by this Big Give. And we care about our community. We love our community. And so now is your chance to be a part of this. And so you've been talking about this. We've been giving you these envelopes. And you've got these. Your kids have picked them up as well if you've got kids. And I'd love for this week for you to spend some time getting to know Carpenter Hospice. I'm going to invite two individuals to come on up here and join me at the front. And as they come up, I want you to spend some time this week going on the website. There's a video that's on YouVersion. You can check that out. You'll be able to check out that video on Facebook and on some other places as well. And so I want you to be thinking about this, and I want you to bring this envelope back. If you can use this envelope, great. You can also use your regular envelopes, because our entire offering is going to be given to Carpenter Hospice next week. And so we want to encourage you to be generous. This is our chance. This is where the rubber meets the road and where we actually get to kind of take that step. And so I'm really excited, and I'm glad that you participated so well in this. And so I want to introduce you to two people. Come on up here, and I'm going to give you a mic. This is Nigel Jacobs, who's the vice chair of Carpenter Hospice on the board of directors. And we also have Charlene Chang, who's here, the wellness program coordinator. And so thank you both for being here. So just tell us a little bit about the Carpenter Hospice. Why don't you start, Nigel?
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Just want to thank you for the opportunity just to tell you a little about the hospice. We're obviously really pleased that you've chosen us. And just a brief history of the hospice. It opened in May 2002, really through a big donation from the Carpenter family. And we've been going, obviously, till today. We've had over 2,000 residents through the hospice between the ages of 21 and 103. So real broad spread.
The care philosophy at the Carpenter Hospice is provided by a specially trained group of nurses and volunteers. We take a client-centered, holistic approach in providing comfort care. We are also sensitive to the unique needs of the individuals and their families, and we help to support them, often with issues around death and dying. We provide compassionate end-of-life care in our hospice.
So why don't you tell us, what is residential care at Carpenter Hospice?
Residential care is our residential care area is 10 beds, 10 individual beds. We all in private rooms. We have nursing and personal support services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The hospice offers a home-like setting, and we have everything needed for live-in accommodation as well. Our hospice is open to Burlington and surrounding area residents in the last weeks to months of life.
And what other services does the hospice offer in Burlington? I know this is close to your heart, so go ahead and share, because sometimes we have a little bit of a smaller view of what happens at Carpenter.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do in the community.
We also offer bereavement and supportive care for those experiencing loss. We offer community education, and we are a community resource in that we set up training for family physicians, community nurses, and teaching about palliative care issues. And the one that is nearest and dear to my heart is the Wellness Outreach Program. I am the nurse coordinator for that program. Right now, we are going into our 9th year running. We have about 65 folks registered in the program, and a lot of people know about the residential piece, but they don't necessarily know about the outreach piece. We provide supportive care through restorative yoga, exercise, different relaxation therapies, and it's all to maintain a quality of life at a time that's very difficult. It is for folks who are living with cancer as well as other life-limiting illnesses.
That's great. And Nigel, why don't you tell us, how do members of our community support the hospice?
Thanks, Paul. So there's 2 ways of doing it. The first one is contributing in terms of your time. And how that looks, we have currently about 160 volunteers at the Carpenter Hospice. And they do a variety of things, from answering the telephone, being involved in administration, helping in the kitchen, helping maintain our property. Some of Charlene's programs with bereavement or wellness. Those are just some of the things that people do. We even have a flower team, so it's really full service in terms of helping in the community. It does require quite a bit of training, though. It's obviously we have a lot of training for people to volunteer, just because of the nature of the services we provide. And then the other side is from donations. That's really the lifeblood of keeping us running. And that can be corporate donations. It can be just individual donations. All donations are really welcomed. We get that through 3 sources. We do special events. Last night we had a gala at the Burlington Convention Center. We have a hike for a hospice. Some of the church members here might be involved in that. That's normally down at the Spencer Smith Park. And then the rest is third-party events, which would be like your donations. We have third-party events. They could be churches, schools, somebody that has a passion to give back to the hospice. And really, that really helps us to provide the services that we like to do in terms of our mission and vision of making moments matter. That's really what we're about.
Oh. Yeah. Why don't you just tell us the cost? What does it cost?
So the best part of the services we provide the hospice, it's no cost for our services or programs. So how do we do that? Well, we have to raise about $1.3 million every year to cover those costs, which comes through some of the ways I've mentioned before. So we started a base zero with a phase to get that $1.3 million. And we always manage it every year. It's really through people like yourself and organizations that believe in the hospice. And that enables us just to keep on running year to year.
Great. And Charlene, maybe I have to ask this question because we had an opportunity to visit the hospice this last week, and it was just incredible just to see the care of the volunteers, of those involved. Everybody has just a big smile on their face and such a giant heart for people. And your tagline, "Making Moments Matter," it just really grabs at me for sure, and others members of the team. So why don't you just tell us, why do you love Carpenter Hospice? You've been involved for a number of years now.
Yes, I'm going on 9 years working there, and the wellness program started the day I did. I was hired to set up the program. I will say that what I have had the privilege to do is work with some of the most courageous people I have ever met in my entire life. And my life, I am changed because of working at the Carpenter Hospice.
And Nigel, what about you? Why do you love this place that you serve?
Very similar to Charlene. It's so sometimes we get some of the staff and come in and will tell us some stories to the board about what's happening. One story I remember, I was waiting outside the hospice to go into a board meeting. A gentleman came in one of the patient transfer vehicles, and it was raining, and he didn't want to go inside, and he said, "Can I just stay out in the rain a little bit?" And just to see the care from the moment when that person comes in the door to the moment when they leave, it's just a phenomenal bunch of people, phenomenal organization. It's just very touching. It's just, as I said, making moments matter. I firmly believe in you have to be aligned with the organizations you're going to volunteer that you believe in, and the mission and vision, and certainly fits what I'd like to do in my value system.
Well, that's great. Nigel, thank you. Charlene, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
You guys can stay here for one moment. I'm gonna come with you guys.
Oh, thank you.